You're listening to the Rachel's English podcast, made especially for non-native speakers, where we study the way Americans really speak. My goal is for you to listen to this podcast every week and sound more natural when speaking English and improve your listening comprehension. Today we're going to cover something really fun. A whole bunch of idioms that are related to food. I'm here with my husband, David.
Hey, everybody.
To help me explain these idioms and come up with situations in which you may want to use them. For a free transcript of the episode, just visit rachelsenglish.com/podcast and search for this episode. First of all, I've compiled a list of some idioms, some food idioms that I thought of, and I just want to say right at the beginning, there is no way this is every food idiom that exists.
You just found one this morning.
Right. I used one and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to use that one in the podcast. Do you remember the one I thought of?
Shoot. No, I can't remember it.
I remember.
What is it?
We were sitting, we had just gotten back from a run and I was sitting on the kitchen floor stretching.
Mm-hmm.
And Stoney just wanted to be sitting on my lap the whole time. I was trying to stretch to sort of like help my body adjust from the run.
Mm-hmm.
And he was making it hard to do that because he wanted to hang on me the whole time. And I said something like, oh, I know, I was sweaty and his clothes, I didn't want him around me because he was like dressed for the day. And I said, we may have to change him because he's on me like white on rice.
That's right. That's, yeah, that one's kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah. So if someone is on someone else, or could you use it with objects? Or is it always two people?
Or it can be objects, yeah.
Like what? What would be an example of something being on something, like white on rice?
You mean something where people aren't involved at all?
I guess I'm just talking about if I was to explain this idiom, which I'm going to attempt now,
Mm-hmm.
I would say if someone is extremely close to someone else, like physically,
Yes.
then you would say, God, he's on me like white on rice. Like maybe your boss or your supervisor is just constantly looking over your shoulder, constantly checking your work. So it can be close physically, but it can also mean, what would be, it's
See, I don't know if that's how I would use it.
Okay, well,
constantly looking over my shoulder.
Oh, really? I think I would if I felt like I was being observed constantly, like everything I did, someone else was watching and judging. I might say, God, he's on me like white on rice. But you think it's only with physical proximity?
Yeah, I think with that example, I would say something more like, he's all over me, or he's really on my top.
Okay.
White on rice. The thing that keeps popping into my mind is a sports example. You know, like in football, American football. One person's trying to get open and catch a pass, and the defender is right there behind them, and they can't even get open. Say, wow, he's on him like white on rice.
Yeah.
I do think about it in terms of physical proximity.
That's another great example, sports. So it means to be extremely close to somebody, maybe touching them, all over them. Like my 18-month-old son was this morning. He just, I don't know, didn't want to be far from mama. And so the phrase is white on rice. Now that may have been hard for you to understand the way we were saying it, because we were saying it all linked up, one phrase, white on rice. And then there's a flap T there that's connecting white and on, and it becomes white on. He was on me like white on rice. Okay, so what does this mean? White, the color, rice. We eat a lot of white rice here in America, more than brown. And so we think of rice as being white. So if you say he was on me like white on rice, then that means he was all over me like the color white is all over rice.
So yeah, the example that came up in your life this morning, it was a physical proximity example. It makes me think that is maybe more how that's used.
I think it is more how it's used, but I'm just wondering if it's the only way that it can be used. And then my other question that I asked was, can it only be used with people, or could you be like, my computer is on my desk like white on rice? Like, does it ever make sense for objects or for things that are people?
No, because of course your computer's on your desk.
No, I know that was a dumb example.
Oh, well.
But I just mean, can it, if I could think of a good example, then I would know that it could be used with objects. I'm just wondering if it can be used with objects or if the phrase white on rice is really only ever used with people.
I really think it's for people.
Okay. So can you say, okay, I'm getting dumb here on purpose. Can you say the rising sea level is on the city of Miami Beach like white on rice? Now there it's not people.
That's absolutely something that no one would ever say.
Yeah. Okay. So the moral of the story is yes, use white on rice with people only. Great examples: a kid sitting on your lap that doesn't want to leave you alone, a defender all over somebody who's trying to win a game. Okay, white on rice. Okay, how about butter up? Have you ever heard that? Now, again, it's a flap T in butter, just like white on, flap T in the word butter. Butter up. Have you heard this before, David?
Yeah, that's a common one.
Yeah.
I would say it means that someone is trying to make a big impression, trying to, well, that's not quite it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's used a lot with kids and parents.
But yeah, the kid is getting ready to ask for something.
Right.
Like the kid wants some money to go out to watch a movie. They might be extra nice and almost sweetly nice to their parent right before they ask. They're trying to butter them up.
Yeah, more nice than normal. They might say, "Oh, Mom, your hair looks so good today."
And then you might say, "Wait a minute, kid. You're just trying to butter me up. What are you asking for?"
Exactly. What do you want? I want money for the movie. Okay, butter up is to compliment someone to be extra, extra nice because you want to ask for something. I could also say, I'm going to be asking for a raise at my next meeting with my boss, so I'm trying to butter him up this week.
Mm-hmm. So what does this one come from?
I really don't know. That's for a whole nother podcast, origins of.
Well, it's maybe, a piece of toast is a lot more attractive if it's got butter on it.
That's true. Dry toast,
not
that interesting.
Meh. But you butter up that toast and it starts looking real good.
Okay, maybe that's it. But definitely, if you're listening out there, do not start retelling that as the definite story because David's just guessing. Tough cookie. Another one that everyone uses, everyone knows. Okay, maybe not everyone uses, but everyone knows this.
So can you use that example? Give an example where you would say that.
Yeah, like let's say it's sports. We use a lot of idioms with sports, but let's say like someone's in a bike race or something and they fall, they wipe out and get back up and start cycling again. You might say, you know what? She's a tough cookie. She got right back in there.
Yeah, that's right.
You were looking really confused for
a minute.
I was
not sure where you were going with that. But yeah, that's true. She's a tough cookie.
She's a tough cookie. She fell, she got a little injured, and she jumped right back on her bike.
Yeah, I think it means that that person is really difficult to dissuade from whatever they're doing.
I think it means also that they're really like feisty. Like they're go-getters. They're not going to just, one little thing is not going to get in their way.
They're going to persevere. They're a tough cookie.
Yeah, exactly. Persevere. Can you think of another example, sentence, or situation where you might use tough cookie?
Let's see. If you're, this is another work example, but if your boss is really kind of difficult to get along with and hard to get cooperation from, you might say to one of your coworkers, yeah, she's a tough cookie. I was trying to talk to her about taking off next week, and she said no right away. She's a tough cookie.
So not only does she persevere and work hard, but she wants you to as well.
Yeah, or just that she's unmovable. I tried to say, well, I have this opportunity to go do this really fun thing. Can I have the day off? Nope, sorry, you got to be here.
So it's like once she's made up her mind about something, she's going to be a real hardliner about it.
Yep.
Okay, here's another cookie one. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, this is like saying, sometimes things in life don't go exactly the way you want them to, but you still have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Right. I should say here that I don't think you would say this if something really devastating had happened. Even though devastating things do happen in life and you can't avoid it, you would never say to somebody, like, if their mom died, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Because it's like saying, deal with it, go with the flow, figure it out. It's not showing a whole lot of compassion for the other person's situation or complaint. So it's really only used for kind of mild situations where someone is sort of mildly disappointed or annoyed. Wouldn't you say, David?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. You want to be careful with this one. You would come off being pretty insensitive.
I feel like as a parent, this is a phrase I might use a lot when the kid is complaining about, oh, something didn't go the way he wanted it to. Like, for example, let's say Stoney has a teacher who's, maybe not that friendly. He doesn't like him or her all that much. He liked the teacher before so much more. I might say, Stoney, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes, you're not going to like everybody that you have to deal with, but you have to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. That was coming up for me too, as a parent talking to a kid, where the kid may think that it's, a really big deal. It's the end of the world.
Super unfair.
The worst thing just happened to me, Mom. Well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Right.
You can deal with it.
Yep. You'll figure it out. The phrase, no use in crying over spilled milk. Now, this phrase means if something has already happened, even if it's not great, if you can't do anything to fix it because it's done, then rather than crying about it, move on, find the positive in it, or even just forget about it. It already happened.
Right. There's no way to put the spilled milk back in the milk container.
Right. And now, one thing that when I first had Stoney and he was a little baby, I saw in like some online groups, a lot of moms were saying, whoever made up this phrase did not ever breastfeed their kid.
That's right.
Because if they like dropped a bottle of breast milk and it spilled, sometimes that can be really devastating if you don't have that much breast milk. Anyway, that's probably more than I needed to mention the word breast milk on the podcast. But the whole point is, usually milk is not a very precious thing. And if it spills, no big deal.
Yeah, right.
So let me think of an example when I might use this phrase. Okay, here's an example. Let's say we're out to dinner and you know the restaurant, you love the restaurant, but you decide to try something new off the menu you've never had before because you want to experiment and you don't like it very much. You might be complaining about, oh man, I just wish I'd gotten the pizza. I know I love the pizza. I could maybe say, well, there's no use in crying over spilled milk. You have a meal, we're out to eat. Let's just enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good example.
So again, just like that's the way the cookie crumbles, you wouldn't use this if something like serious had gone wrong.
Right. Mm-mm.
What about piece of cake? Piece of cake. So I'm taking the word of there and I'm reducing it to just the schwa. You wouldn't have to, but a lot of people would say that. Piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. What's that mean?
Simple, easy.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, right.
An example of that would be, let's say you're in school and you have a test, and the test, after the test, you feel like it went really well. It wasn't that hard. You say, oh, that test was a piece of cake.
And hopefully your friend agrees too, because if someone hears you saying that and they struggled with it, they might be thinking, oh man, I'm not good at this.
That's right.
Okay, I have 2 more cake idioms for you, David. Have your cake and eat it too. So this is like when you want more than one good thing for yourself. And I think the phrase is often, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, I think that's right. It comes in the negative like that.
Or you could say, I want to have my cake and eat it too.
No.
You would never say that?
Well, maybe, but that'd be much more rare. It's usually, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right. It's like if you've just gotten something, don't necessarily ask for something else.
Yeah, don't get greedy. You've got it. Don't try to get even more.
Mm-hmm. An example of this would be if your kid wants to borrow your car and you've decided, okay, I'm going to give him the keys. He can borrow my car for the evening. And then he says, oh, and also, can I have $50 extra because we're going to go do this thing? You might say, no way. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You already got the car. I'm not giving you more money.
It's a perfect example. The kid's pushing their luck. I
Yeah.
guess that's another idiom. But yeah, they already got the yes on the car. So just, it's like, leave well enough alone.
Mm-hmm.
Is that another idiom? It's hard to explain idioms without other idioms.
Yeah.
But you got the car for the night. Don't try to have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. Don't push it. Don't ask for too much once you've already gotten something. Okay. The icing on the cake. Another cake idiom.
Who knew? So many cake idioms.
So many cake idioms. Okay. Icing on the cake is when something is already great and then something else awesome happens.
Yeah.
For example, let's say we're on vacation. We're, visiting friends in the town where we went to college. We're having a great time. And then we run into a friend we didn't expect to see who's also in town. And we say, oh my God, this was the best evening. And running into you is just the icing on the cake.
Yeah. Or this just happened to us in New York last weekend. We were having a great afternoon and we reached out to a friend last minute and didn't even know if they were in town because they travel a lot. And she was in town. She came and met us and we had that great afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having a great day and a great weekend anyway, but having her show up, that was just the icing on the cake.
It really was. It was unplanned and
serendipitous.
It was just wonderful to sit down with her. It was the icing on the cake. Okay, the idiom, not my cup of tea. So tea here, it's a drink. It's not food, but it's all related. Food and idioms podcast. No. Food and drink idioms podcast. Okay, if it's not my cup of tea, that means, I understand other people like it. I get it as a thing, but I don't personally like it.
Right.
Like I could say, sports, not my cup of tea. I don't like watching them. I don't like playing them. It's not my thing.
Right. You understand that other people get a lot out of it and really enjoy it, but it's just not, it's not your thing.
Right.
It's not for you. It's not your cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it would maybe come up even more in a sort of more, things that are a little bit less commonplace. So maybe a certain cuisine, that's a little bit more abnormal for Americans. You and I love to make Ethiopian food.
Yeah.
I have a really good friend who was born in Ethiopia, and I've learned to make Ethiopian food. Well, that's, it's a pretty unique cuisine. Some of it's really spicy. So, if we were having a party and that was the food that we served, somebody after that party might say, yeah, it was okay, but, that food just really isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah. Injera isn't my cup of tea.
I don't know how anybody could think that, but
No,
hypothetically, that's possible.
We love Ethiopian food.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Okay, I have a couple egg idioms for you.
Okay.
How about to egg someone on?
That's right. You're egging them on. You're antagonizing them. You're sort of trying to get under their skin.
Yeah, like you're, and also it could be used if you're trying to get someone to do something that they probably shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, you're trying to provoke them.
Yeah.
Get some movement going.
Mm-hmm. Let's come up with an example. Let's say your kid did something kind of reckless, not good. Maybe your kid shoplifted a little something. And you would say, why would you do that? And your kid might say, everyone was egging me on. They all told me to do it.
Right. Someone was provoking them, was applying some peer pressure.
Right.
They were egging them on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
Egg someone on? That makes no sense to me as a native speaker, even. Why are those words together?
Okay, so we just looked up the definition here. And David, what does it mean?
I definitely just learned something new. So to egg someone on, egg in this context is actually not a food idiom at all. It is short for the word exhort, which means to provoke into action, to move into action. So to egg someone on is to exhort them to do something.
So it's just short for exhort.
Yeah. So this is in the wrong podcast.
Okay, I'm going to move it from the food idioms podcast to the
abbreviated
shortening of words podcast.
That one will be popular.
Okay, I said I had more than one egg idiom. Now this one I know is related to eggs, and that is to put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, that's pretty clear, right? If you are carrying around some eggs, and they're all in one basket and you drop that basket, there go all your eggs. They're all going to break.
Right.
But if you use a couple different baskets, you drop one basket, you still got some eggs left.
Yeah, it's usually used as like a warning. Don't do this. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. For example, if you're investing for your retirement, you want to diversify. You don't want everything in one kind of stock in one kind of market, because if that one market tanks, which means fails, then you would lose all your money. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You might also do this if let's say you hate your job and you want to get a new job and you found this one job that you love and it's a really long application process, but you haven't applied to anywhere else. Your friend might say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think you should apply to 10 or 12 jobs.
Yeah, or I was thinking a very similar example of in the American university system, students will place a lot of applications with a lot of different schools because they're not sure where they're going to get in. So it would not be a good idea to put all your eggs in one basket, meaning to only apply to one school. Even if that's your top choice and clearly the one that you want to go to, it would be a bad idea to only apply to that place, because what if you don't get in there? Then all your eggs are in one basket and you haven't gotten into university.
Yeah, then you don't have options. David, am I the apple of your eye?
You are.
Okay, this is usually used with like kids or partners, right? If someone's the apple of your eye, it just means the center of your world.
Right. I have no idea what that means.
Who knows?
Apple of your eye.
I don't know where it came from either.
Makes no sense. It's so interesting to be going through this list, because as a native speaker, these just roll off my tongue. I know exactly what they mean because of the context around them, but I have no idea where that comes from. The apple of my eye.
Yeah, this is how almost all idioms are. When I was doing research for a video that I published this summer, I was talking about the idiom, it's raining cats and dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking up where that comes from. And I think there were two different ideas, but one of them was the idea of thatched roofs. And when it would rain, like animals used to like to hang out up there, but when it would rain, it would get damp. And so then they would come out of the roofs and, I don't know, go into the house or something. But so when it would rain hard, then the cats and dogs or whatever little animals might be up there, it doesn't seem like a dog would be up there, but the animals would leave their little dry spot in the thatched roofs.
Interesting.
So anyway, all of these idioms came about because most idioms that we're using are somewhat old at this point. They all came about for some specific reason, but have taken on just their own little idiomatic meaning, and most people don't think about where the phrase comes from.
Yeah.
David, do you have a bun in the oven?
No, I don't. If I did, that would be a medical miracle.
That really would be. Okay, the phrase bun in the oven means to be pregnant. I had a bun in the oven, and I did a video about it when I said the cat's out of the bag.
That's right.
Another idiom saying, oh, spill the beans.
Yeah.
When I revealed to my audience that I was pregnant with Stoney. I don't think I said I have a bun in the oven, but I could have.
You could have. Because you did.
Because I did. What about the big cheese?
Yeah, what about that? I'm not sure I know how to use that quite right.
I just always think of it as meaning like the boss.
The big cheese, the person that's in charge?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know exactly what this means, and I know I've heard it used before, but I don't think I would use it.
This one I think is a little bit less common.
Yeah, maybe. He's the big cheese. For example, let's say someone's talking to David, and he's like, oh, what's up with Rachel these days? And David might be like, she's the big cheese. She's run this YouTube channel, just launched a new podcast. Would you ever say that?
It's a leading question. No, I don't think so. That one's a little bit less common.
Okay, but do you think that I used it the right way when I was pretending to be you talking about me? Like if someone's running their own business. She's running her own business. She's the big cheese.
Yeah, I suppose that's right. I don't think I use it. Maybe that's just it. I don't use it, so it's sounding funny to me.
Well, if anyone out there ever hears it, then they'll know what it means.
It's true. And you are the big cheese. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I
Thank
know you're the
you.
big cheese.
I was just waiting for you to say that.
So you were fishing for that. That's okay. There you go. You are the big cheese.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
I actually, part of the reason why I'm the big cheese is because I bring home the bacon.
There you go. That's the next one. Bringing home the bacon.
Bring home the bacon. This is what it means to make money for your family, basically, to make the money that supports your family. In some households, 2 people bring home the bacon. In some households, it's just 1 person who brings home the bacon. Why are you working so hard? Oh, I got to bring home the bacon.
Yep.
Have another baby on the way. I've got to bring home the bacon.
Right. I have a bun in the oven. I got to bring home the bacon.
There you go. Oh, goodness. Cool as a cucumber.
Cool as a cucumber.
Now, this means really calm and collected. Maybe in a situation where there's some pressure.
Yeah, calm under pressure.
Yeah.
Sports analogy comes to mind right away. At the end of a basketball game, somebody needs to make an important free throw, and the pressure's really high. But you look at their face, and they just look calm, and they just make the free throw, no problem. Man, he is cool as a cucumber at the end of the game.
David, I have noticed that you tend to default towards basketball. What do you have against baseball? Same thing could be said of baseball.
That's true.
Bottom of the ninth.
Right. Part of it is as a longtime Philadelphia sports fan, the Philadelphia Phillies, our local baseball team, has been abominable. They've been awful.
Horrible.
I'm trying to think of a food analogy. They're just terrible. So I tend to look to other sports because they were good for a little while.
Okay, but isn't the basketball team horrible? Hasn't the basketball team been horrible for a long time? First of all, what is the basketball team in Philadelphia?
Philadelphia 76ers historically have been less bad.
Okay.
And they are currently on the way up.
Because I feel like the other day we were talking about sports. What were we saying? And you said something about...
Well, I said Stoney wasn't allowed to play baseball.
Oh, yeah. And I wasn't sure why, because I think baseball's fun.
Yeah. Kind of boring.
So what is Stoney allowed to play?
Well, he's definitely allowed to play soccer, football to the international audience, because that's my favorite sport that I played in college. And I think it's a great game. It's a team game. There's a lot of exercise.
How come you don't ever use it when you're giving sports analogies for idioms? Because it could be like penalty shot, sudden
Yeah, you
death.
know what? That's a good point. I think because soccer is dramatically less popular in the States, I think that I tend to not use that sport when describing things.
Yet internationally, basketball, kind of no big deal compared to soccer.
That's true. I should be using soccer on the podcast.
Okay, from now on.
But basketball is getting huge.
Is it?
Internationally. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I would guess that it's the fastest growing sport internationally in the world.
Oh, that's going to be fun to look up later. What about the phrase, take it with a grain of salt?
That's another one where I use that. And now I'm so curious, where does that come from? Take it with a grain of salt means, have a little bit of skepticism about what you're hearing. Listen, hear the person out, but take what they say with a grain of salt. Have a critical ear as you listen.
Yeah, or it's like if what I'm saying, maybe I'm suggesting something to you. Maybe I'm saying, David, I really think you should think about a new hairstyle. I think this would look so good on you. That would look so good on you. And if I can tell that you're not totally agreeing with me, I might say, you know what? Take it with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion.
It's just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion.
So it's a way of tempering something that you yourself have said too.
Yeah.
You realize that you've come on too strong. And so you add at the end, you know what? Take it with a grain of salt. I didn't mean to be overbearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great description. Okay, there's one other one that I want. Well, I want to do a couple nut ones because the other day we were talking about something and I used the idiom small peanuts. Do you remember what we were talking about?
Mm-mm.
I think we were on a run and I was saying how I hadn't heard back from the people about the wall partition. We have this weird situation in our house where there's a basement with a finished room, but an open stairway, and there's no door at the stairway. So it's connected to the living room, dining room at the top of the stairs with no door. So if we have guests down there in our basement, because that's where our guest room is, and there's, no sound barrier. So I've been talking to this company trying to order a movable wall type thing to go down there because there's not room for a wall. And I was saying, I still haven't heard back from Rich. And I said, you know what? I think we're just small peanuts to them. And what I meant by that was we're not a very big sale. We're not a very big account. I think they work mostly with schools, companies, universities, people who have really big projects, not just a little house project. So if you're just small peanuts, that means compared to the group, you're small. You're not a big deal.
Yeah, when you said that, I was surprised. I just assumed that this was a company that specialized in residential walls, and I had been really confused over the last couple months. It's taken them a long time to get back to you at points, and they've been sort of slow to respond on things, and I didn't realize that they do a lot of huge jobs on which I'm sure their profit margin is better than our little tiny basement wall.
Yeah, our little basement wall, it's just small peanuts to them. I think small potatoes is used the exact same way. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
They're small potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what if you're doing something for peanuts?
Means you're barely getting paid.
Right. Don't work for peanuts, David. You're worth more than that.
That's right. I appreciate that. I'm not the big cheese, but I shouldn't work for peanuts.
No, you shouldn't work for peanuts. Do you think you can use it with spending too? Like, oh man, now you can get a new computer for peanuts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so if you work for peanuts, that means you work for very little money. If you say something is like, oh, you can just get that for peanuts now, that means you can get it. You can buy it for
you got a great deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in a nutshell.
Good one.
So this is something that we use sort of like to introduce a concluding sentence or thought, right? Or a summary. A summary. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
If you're going to say, okay, in a nutshell, that means you're summarizing what you just said, more concisely saying it in like one phrase. Or I think it can also be the conclusion, like, in a nutshell, you should buy this stock. If I've just given a presentation about, 10 minutes about why I think this stock is good, I might say at the end, well, folks, in a nutshell, now is the right time to buy.
In a nutshell, today's podcast has been about food idioms.
There you go.
And that Rachel is the big cheese.
Right. And that I don't work for peanuts because I'm bringing home the bacon even though I don't have a bun in the oven.
That's right.
Okay, wait, really quickly, a couple other nuts idioms. To be nuts. That's like to be crazy.
Yeah, to be unhinged.
Don't you think that it can mean like legitimately mentally ill? Like if someone has
yes, but please don't ever say that.
Yeah. If someone has a diagnosable disease, someone might call them nuts. Oh, he's nuts.
But that is totally rude. And you would only say that among very close friends where you knew the context. In other words, if somebody was not well in their mental health and you said in a public place, oh, I think that they're nuts, that would be very, very rude.
It's sort of writing the person off, isn't it?
Yeah, it's derogatory.
So the other way you can use nuts is if someone does something that's kind of like crazy or silly or extreme. Like let's say at Lake Michigan this summer, depending on how cold the water is, I might not go pier jumping with you guys. And if it's freezing and you still go, I might say, you guys are nuts.
Yeah, when we're jumping off the pier into the water.
Yeah.
If the water's really good. Right. You guys are nuts.
You guys are nuts.
That's a safer way to use it. That's playful and yeah, more appropriate.
Yeah. Okay, what about a tough nut to crack?
Great one.
Yeah, now this is not like tough cookie. I mean, it's sort of similar, but we're using tough. But if you're a tough nut to crack, then it means you're hard to get to know, to figure out.
Mm-hmm. You keep sort of your true self hidden.
Mm-hmm.
You're a tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
It can also be used just in general for, I think, you tell me if I'm wrong, but like a really difficult problem that you're having.
Yeah, I think you could say that.
Trying to think of an example.
Like with math? If there was a really complex problem, I mean, maybe not.
Probably not.
No. Definitely with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say that you guys got a new boss, you and your coworker. got a new boss. She's been working for a couple months. Everyone's trying to understand her, get to know her.
Yeah.
No one feels like they are. You might be talking to your coworker and say, man, she's a tough nut to crack. I just can't figure her out.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yeah.
I take back what I said about a problem.
Okay, so we're really only saying you would use this with people.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, guys. Well, that's some of the many food and drink idioms that exist in American English. If you hear any idioms that you would like us to cover in the podcast, please email help@rachelsenglish.com and put podcast question in the subject. And guys, if we're talking a little fast for you here, if you'd like the transcript, there is a free transcript. Just visit rachelsenglish.com/podcast. Search for this episode, and there you'll find the show notes, which might have links to some related topics, and then also the free transcript to download. If you like the podcast, please think about sharing it with your friends and family and leaving us a review in iTunes. It does help other people find the podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. See you next time.
See you guys.